Hey guys, welcome to DevOpsSchool. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about Python. Python is a general purpose, interpreted, interactive, object-oriented and high-level programming and scripting language. After going through this tutorial, I promise you that the concept and understanding of the Python will be absolutely clear to you. This series is divided into multiple parts. Therefore, subscribe to the channel and follow the playlist. But before we begin, let me inform you few things about us. DevOpsSchool is one of the leading platforms which offers DevOps, cloud and containers technology training and certification programs for freshers and established professionals who wish to update and consolidate their skills in the dynamic IT scenario. We ensure that the training solutions are delivered by highly experienced domain experts with practical working experience in various verticals. You can join our all training programs globally through online platforms, and if you're looking for classroom workshop, then we have regular batches available in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Check out the dates and enroll with us for our upcoming batches. For more info, link and contact details are mentioned in the description below.
So guys, this is the class and objects. Any questions you guys have it?
I guess no, we are good at it.
Okay, so now I am going to give you 1 hour of lab, and in which what I would like you to do that. Okay, I would like you to install in a hello world program. I'm typing this instruction and I'm going to share this program with you in some time. I'm going to ask you to install Python 3 in your laptop. I'm going to ask you to install pip this, okay, and then try out each program number 1 to 11 and understand it. Then next topics which I'm going to talk about is, after this, once you complete this lab, I'm going to talk about file operation using Python, file operations, database operation using Ansible, like insert, update, delete and stuff like that using MySQL. Okay, I'm going to talk about web development using Python, using Flask, using Python Flask and so on. So this will be the next discussion and demo after this, once you complete the lab. So let's get started. So I am going to give you all this program. So just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to copy. So this is a sample program. This is a live program, rough first online. So git init. I'm creating a repository. Git add. Okay. Git config user name Rajesh Kumar. Git config user email DevOps@rajeshkumar.xyz. Git commit -m first commit. Here all these program you have in the same directory. Okay, so the repository which I'm creating for you guys is GitHub uh, lab and size. Create a new repo, Python uh, online November 2019. Create a repo. Now I'm going to push this into all the programs Git. So Git remote add origin. So Git push origin master.
Hey Rajesh,
Okay, guys.
do we have to log out to GitHub and download?
No, sir. It's a public repository. Anyone can access it, and anyone can clone it. But you cannot modify until you become a contributor. So I think you can fork it and start working on it. No problem. So here, guys, this all the source code I have uploaded to this place. Here I have a sample programs. These are the sample programs. I'm going to show you some of the exam demo. These are the PPTs, and this is the live programs which I gave it to you to try. Though multiple scenarios can be done, and this is the notes, first notes, and online notes which I am writing for you, and then some rough. So this is the all together everything I've given it to you. Now the URL of it is in, I'm going to post it in a chat. So let me post it. So
This conference will now be recorded.
okay, so now I am going to talk about three things as part of this demo. First thing, file operations using Python. That's the first thing. So file operation using Python. So these operations typically we do for the system programmings like utility programmings, desktop programmings, Linux programming. So we do some file operations using Python. Second thing which I'm going to show you the demo with is database operations. Database operations using Python. Now, in this case, I'm going to use MySQL database, though you can use any other database. It's just the connectors will change, so no problem. And then web development using Python, which is the using Flask, again with Flask. Flask is one of the framework for the web development in Python. So this is the three demo which I'm going to show you with. So now let's get started. So I'm going to write another program under this program number 12, new file, program 12.py. Now The flow of this program is very simple, such as first of all, the file exists or not. Okay, that is the first thing which you need to check. First thing, we need to find out whether the file exists or not. Second thing is reading a file. I'll put it in the file operations. And when we say file operation here, it can be reading, writing, appending, deleting, and so on. Okay, so these are the typical things which we do with the file operations. So now I'll put it in this stuff in the comments, so that way it will not fail my operations. Now let's get started. So with that, I am going to show you this example. So please look at it. First thing, how to open a file. So this is the way you can open a file. Here, f is a variable which you are declaring here. Open file myfile.txt. So this file should be exist in the current directory. Now what I'm going to do, this file I'm creating in this same directory, new file myfile.txt. So now this file is exist right now, and 12, which is here, this will open a file. So but before that, I should do the file exist or not. So let me validate read file, read lines, write file, flush, close file. So I cannot find a code here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my code here. I have some code, and these codes are input.py. So now look at this here. This code I'm going to use in program. So here, this logic is very simple. If os.path is file. Now os is one of the package in Python, and this will make sure that the file, whatever the file which you are working with it, which will validate whether it exists or not. Okay, so this is the one of the package which you are calling. Now you see that this package is not there. So what to do in this case? Again, if the package which you are using and that is not being defined, those variables is not being defined. So what to do in that case? You have to call those packages. How can you call this package? You can call this package using import command. So here I am calling import os, import JSON. Though I don't need JSON right now, but still I'm just keeping it for the future purpose. So now os, I got this package loaded in this program. So you see that suddenly the moment the package got loaded, this become defined now. So os.path.each file is a function which is defined in this package, which will make sure that the file exists or not. So basically I'm going to check here. Look at the logic here. This file, my file, which is in current directory, if it is exist, print the file does exist. If it is not exist, then this is not exist. So this is the thing. Now if you look at this here, this is a very simple logic I am doing it, whereas I'm not using the f. We will use f for the reading, writing, appending, deleting, and stuff like that. So now let me run this program, and now you see that here it says, look at the program here, it says this is define this, not this not an error, by the way. You can skip this error right now. Now let me rerun one more times to have a clean. Yeah, so this is okay. So here you see this is not being used. The problem here is file not found error. No such file or directory myfile.txt. So now the error is something like this. The file is not able to found out. Here this file itself is not found out. So what to do in this case? Because if you remember, program 12.py is in the same directory where myfile.txt is in. So same directories, but still that file is not able to find it out. So in this case, what to do? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to play some tricks here, and the tricks is very simple again. First, find it out. Python is having the directory which is getting loaded, the current directory, which is right or not. So now how can you find out that? So again, few functions I am calling here. CWD, current working directory, os.get CWD. So get CWD is a function which will return the current working directory, CWD. And here this CWD, I am printing it here through the print function. Okay. Now, if you see, files will list all the files in the current directory and also display here. So basically here, using this method, I will come to know, okay, this I'll comment it right now. I will come to know what is my current directory and how many files and directories are here over there. So now delete the output and I'm running one more time. And see here, if you look at this, my current directory here is, see here, the files in, which is files in this directory. So if you understand this, my current working directory which is considered in my IDE is Python, whereas my program is under the live directory. So that is one of the reason this file is saying it's not found. So why this is the behavior? So basically here, when I initialize my workspace, okay, initialize my workspace is one of the project which I created. So I created a project with this directory. So they are taking my environment of the IDE is taking this as a root directory, no matter where is the programs are. So what to do in this case? Simple. You have to go the 2 path back. So you have to go to not back, you have to go up actually. So for that, what I need to do, I need to do here, live is in the Python. So so here you have to go live, and now here my file.txt. So now this is the right path for this. So now I'm going to check this file is exist or not. So now let me rerun this program. And here you see files in, this is the path for my workspace, but the file does exist. So the moment I change this file, now it's exist. So this is the way you can, validate whether the file operation. So here what we want to do, file operations we want to do. So before that, doing some reading, writing, appending or deleting, you want to do something like a whether it's exist or not. And here I found out, okay, the file is exist. This is only for the debugging purpose. You might not need for this. This is only for the knowing the things, what exactly your Python is being set with. Okay, because of Visual Studio, the root location is starting with the live path. So this is one of the way you can validate. Now after that, I am going to start with opening a file, reading a file, and stuff like that. So before that, I would like you to understand this one. Look at this. Here, if you understand, after opening a file, these are the activities you want to do. So how can you do that? So this is the mode which we have. So if you want to read a file, which is the default, R. If you want to write a file, a write mode. If you want to have a file with the write mode. If you want to open a file with the write mode, W. Let me tell you, if you open up the file with a read mode, which is a default, you will not be able to write, append, and create also. So make sure that you should specify the right mode for that. If you want to append the file, then this is the A. Let me tell you, W will write a file, but at the same time it will overwrite here, whereas A will append the file. If you want to read and write, then you can use this one, and if you want to create a file, then you can use this one. So now let me do one thing. Let me create a file. So let's get started. So here, first thing, I'm going to create a file. So first thing, I'm going to create a file which is with here. So create a file. Now here, F. Now this file is live, and that's all. So here I am going to create a file, and for this I am going to use example program is not here. Let me just get it. Create a file is the operand is X. This is the operands here. So now I'm creating a file, live, and create file.txt. So now let's run it. And here, let me check the file is got created or not. So go to the live directory here, and here you see create file.txt. You have got it. So this is the way you can create a file. Now you want to same file, you want to do certain other things. What you want? Now let's say you want to first you want to write a file. So let's write a file using this one. So now file is been created. After that being created, you want to open that file and in the write mode. Okay, you see the write mode. What do you want to write? F.write, which is a function, and this is the one of the data which you are writing. So now let me run it, and now there's a problem here. The problem is very simple. This file which is trying to create again here, okay, I think I duplicated. Okay, this is my bad. Okay, just a second, hold on. So here, run it again. So file which is trying to recreate, which is already exist. So what should I do? So before creating, I should delete also file. Okay, so here it's get created, then you should open up file and write it. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete just for the demo purpose, delete this file and move to trash. Now this file is not there. So here I creating a file, and here I am overwriting a file with the content. Overwriting a file with a content. Now run it, and here you see that create file.txt has come, and I cannot see. Okay, there's a problem. The problem is the file path is wrong. So here, this one. Okay. So now again I have to redo the thing. So delete this file, move to trash, and redo these things. So now you see here, file does exist, create, and this file has come. So now this is done. Now next thing which I want to do, I want to not overwrite, but same time this data is there. Now I will comment it, so you should not fail that program. Okay, this is I'm commenting. But now I don't want to overwrite. I want to append that file. I want to append with some content. Okay, so now let's get started. So for appending, you have to use A, and this is the append code. So here file open, which file you want to open? Same file. Now what you want to do? Mode append. What do you want to append in this file? This content. Okay, so now I'm running it, appending, and here let me check the append has happened or not, and you see append has happened. Now you want to introduce the new line, that you can also do it here. You can introduce the new line always. Something like what you can do here is this one. Okay, and one more time, let me run it, and here let me go and check. It didn't work. Okay, it didn't work because of I gave the new line at the end of it. That was my bad. So here append one more time, and let me check now. Now you see it has come. So this is the way you can also append the file. Now you must be wondering, see, I run 2 times append, but how come this file is not being 2 times appendix text, why 2 times is not coming? So basically, let me tell you here, this is whatever the information you do through the file operation, it's not storing. It is not storing. Why? Because to store that file permanently, to make it the persistence, you have to clear the buffer. So that is important. Flush your buffer. So how to make sure that the file is stored? So you have to run this after every write and after every append. You need to run this buffer. So if you do not run this, if you do not flush this, then it will not be writing permanently. So now if you see here, this is the I'm writing a content here, 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, and now let's check it out. And now it's just a second, there's some problem here. Let me check. Let me delete this content, and here let me run. And here. Okay, so now let me do this 1 time. It has come. Now overwrite, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to make it comment. Done. And now this time I want to append it. So here, one more time, let me check. It has come. See, one more time, and let me check. And you see here, so this is the way you can, first the file is exist or not. You can check current directory. You can use the package, which is OS package, to get more functionality. And then here you validated that the file exists or not. You created a file, then overwritten a file, then append a file, then finally you want to delete a file. So let me do that. So deleting a file, we'll have to write a file and read a file. You want to read the content of this file also. you can do that. So this is the way you can read the content. Let me put this content also, reading file, read a file with the content. So here F again. Now the file location is this one, and you want to print up the content of the file. So let me run it, and there is some problem. This is a typo, and now you see this is the content of the file. So this is the way you can have the file's content. Now last thing which you want to delete the file, and for the deleting the file, what you have to do, very simple. Here OS, which is a function, which is a package which you have called it here, import OS. Now remove is a function, and the file name which you want to delete is. So which file you want to delete it? This file you want to delete it, and ultimately and run it. And now let's check it out. This file is gone. Okay, so this is the way you can work with the file operations also, where you can read the file, write a file, append the file, and delete the file, and also check that the file exists or not. And the package which will help you to get it done is OS package, which you have to import it. OS package has a multiple, again, different method functions which you can use it. Again, if you go to the official page of OS package, you will find hundreds of methods which you can find it, which is OS specific, and you can do a lot of other tasks as well. Okay, any questions on this file operations?
Yeah, I guess we are good.
Any questions on the file operation?
We are good, Raju. Does anyone have?
Okay.
Yeah, I sent something.
Okay. Now next thing I'm going to show you how can you use the file operations with the real work. So let me show you one of the example program here. Look at this here. This program here I'm calling the JSON and OS. This is on two packages which I'm importing. Here I am checking which is a current directory, which is a variable is set. It will return the current directory. Now I'm setting up how many files you have in that particular current directory. Here you have printing the files which you have declared at the files location. Here I'm checking that the file exists or not at this location. And then finally, if you see here, this place, what I'm doing here, I am opening this file, which is a JSON file. Now, where is the file? Let me show you here. Input.json. This is the file. Opening a file, okay, and in the read mode only, and setting as a input. Okay. After that, I am creating an object from the class which is called JSON.load with the input, and input is being passed from here. So basically this file content is being sent as an input to object class, object here obj, which is an instantiation of the class object. Now with that, I am opening up one file again in the write mode. Which file? Output.txt, which is here. Now I'll delete this content here, this empty file right now. Here I'm opening up n as an output, and then here output.write, and here whatever the content which you had instantiated, you are going to print here, plus append with the hobbies. So here if you look at this in the JSON, you have name, key value, key value, key value. So here these are the JSON file which you have it. So I am going to print all this thing appended with the hobbies, and then here again there's a loop. So here loop has happened, and then you are writing the output, which is nothing but this file dot write, which is the OS function hobby plus new line. So this is the so basically in short, I'm reading a file from here, writing it here with some appending with the name here and some extra text here, hobbies and stuff like that. So let me run this program. And here, now you see that output.txt, this has come. Okay, so this is the way you can read the file, write a file, append the file, and delete the file. These are the things which you can do that in your program. Any questions on the file operations?
Any questions? I guess. You have any question, Nilesh?
Sorry.
We are good. Rajesh, go ahead. I guess Rajesh will have this same exercise to be. You will be uploading in the Git, right?
Yeah, it's the same exercise. I'm going to commit and push into the Git.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now next thing is, this is done. Now next thing is I'm going to do with the database operations. Okay, database operations using Python, and the database which I'm trying to do is MySQL. So I will divide this demo into the steps so that way you understand it. So at step number 1, I'll put it in the multiple steps and then I will define it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So first of all, you have to install MySQL server. Now, if you have existing MySQL server, that's okay, no problem. Now, when you install the MySQL server, set a root password. Okay, this is the, when you install the new MySQL server, you have to set the root password first time. Others, it will say default password need to be reset. So every time you log in. So this is the first thing. Okay. Second thing is install Python MySQL connector. Now using pip3. Remember, again I'm saying, repeating, using pip3. So this Python MySQL connector, again different kind of connectors are there, like MySQL, Oracle, MS SQL, Postgres and stuff like that. So as part of the demo MySQL, so I am going to install the MySQL connector, which is the step number 2. Okay, so now you got this one. Now you should validate whether the MySQL server is up and running or not. You have to, let's say you have to start the server, start a server, and then set a root password and validate it. Everything you should be doing it much in advance. This one is done. Okay, and step number 2, you have to do this one. Then third step is check using Python. Now that after this step number 1 and step number 2, using Python, check a MySQL connection. Okay, that's one thing. Once you are checking the MySQL connection, then step number 4, using Python, create a database. You can create a database. Okay, once the database is created, again using Python, create a table. Okay, once you create a table, then what do you want to do? You want to do insert operation, which we call it a DML operation, data manipulation operation. Then insert ops, and then step number 6, step number 7, using Python, update, and finally step number 8, which is delete operation, delete rows. So here insert row, update row, delete row. This is what we will do that. And in fact, one more thing I forgot. After the insert, you should read it also. So here 6, 7, I'll make it here, 8, 9, and here insert and read rows operation. So these are the steps. If you follow, then you'll be more in line towards the things. So these are the demo which I'm going to show you. Any questions on the flow? Any questions on the flow?
No, we are good, Rajesh.
Okay, so now let's get started. So now I'm going to show you my programs. First thing, install MySQL server, start a server, set a root password and validate it. This thing if you want to do in Mac or Linux. Okay, I am not sure about which operating system you're using, so I'll share with you both the way. So here this is the Mac, this is the Linux. Now you can follow this instruction and do that. This is in Mac and this is in Linux. Okay, done. Okay, so you must do this stuff if you're using Mac or Linux. That is done. In fact, I have done it already. So in my laptop, MySQL is already installed, and let me check it is got started or not. So here, clear the screen. MySQL. Okay, it's not there in the path set. So I'm going to use the specific path, and that is here. Okay, let me. The path is user local bin, something like that. So let me go and check. So first I'm going to check here. This is the path in my laptop. And in fact, when you install through the DMG, you can get it this one. Now, what is my password? So my password is, I think I forgot. This is my new password. So here, and you see here you see in front of you my MySQL server is running. I got inside this. I want to show you the database. Here, look at this. Here, this is the command to see the database. If you want to use the database, let's say DevOpsSchool. This is the using the there's spelling mistake here. School. So this is a database change. You want to describe the table, show the table. So show tables of the database called DevOpsSchool. There's one table, and then what you want to do? You want to describe the column of it. So select all from the table which is called laptop. Okay, and then done. You see here. So these are the things which you do. Now again, this all commands I am sharing with you. So here I will copy paste and done. So this is the command line operations which you do. So command reference, I'll put it here, command reference. In the notes itself, same notes. Okay, done. Now with that, exit. And my database is running. So now let's get started. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to first step install Python MySQL connector using pip3. So now this also I have done it. So how can you do that? Very simple. Just put it this one in the Google, and here you need to run only this command, and which is I'm writing the commands directly to you, which is here. Whereas this one will become a pip3. Remember, pip for Python 2, pip3 for Python 3. So now this will install the Python MySQL connector. By the way, you should do with the sudo, so that way you won't face any problem. So this is step number 2 is also done. By the way, I have done it, so I don't have to redo this thing. So you see here, it's already done. So okay, this got I think I had installed it, but again it got reinstalled. So basically it got reinstalled again. So this is already satisfied and stuff like that. So downloading has happened, but the installation got reinstalled. So no problem. So clear the screen. So after doing this, now let's check the connection, whether the connection is good or not, whether Python can access the connection or not. So now the question is how. Okay, and for that I am going to write the program number 13. And here, okay, rather than writing in this directory, let me do that same thing in the MySQL. There's a directory here, you can see on my repository. Here you can see in the repository, if you refresh here, there's one repository which is called MySQL, and in this all the programs, sample programs, I have already updated it. So now I'm going to use the same thing. So check whether the connection is up or not. So for that, what do you have to do? MySQL connector, which you have to import it, and from this MySQL connector you have to call this. These are the methods which you can call. These are the objects which you can call, and then this is exception handling. Try what? Try this. If you get an error, which is if you are expecting error, any error which you got it through this command, this snippet of the code, put it in this one and print with this one. Okay, and finally you do this one. So here, what is exactly try what? Try this. But what is this? So connection is equal to MySQL, which is coming from here. Dot connector, which is here. Connect method. So here, MySQL is a package name. Connector is a class name. Connect is a method name. See how it can call other package. MySQL is a package name. Connector is a class name. Connect is a method name. Inside that, you need to pass the parameter. What parameter? So the parameter is host of your database, username, and password. This is correctly defined, so I don't have to change it. Now you see here, if connection and each connected is a method in MySQL package connector class. If it is connection is connected, then print this one. Though you are setting up one more variable, dvinfo, that you can ignore it for time being. I'm not using it, just I'm setting up. So here, if the connection is successful, print this one, connected to MySQL server version dvinfo. And if there is an error, set this. And finally, after that, once you validate it, close this connection. That's a good sign. So here, how can you close that? If connection is connected, which is true. So if this is true, then only close the connection. If it is not true, so anyways it's not got connected, so no need to close that. And then print MySQL connection is closed. So did you understand this code? This will only validate if MySQL is running up and running or not. Any questions on this program?
Yes. Very good idea.
Okay, so now I'm going to execute it. And here you see, connected to MySQL version 5.7.28, which is the version of it. MySQL connection is closed, so everything is okay. So everything is working. So this is the first demo, which will be just to check the connection. Now, second step, which is step number 4, using Python, you have to create a database. The question is how. So for that, let me show you another program for it. So here you go to another program, create a database. Same program, only little bit of modification. You see here, same program. Look at this here, same program. Only the change has happened here is these two. Okay, if you compare the last program, which is check.py, see if connection is connected, if that database connection is connected, then you print this one. But in this, what I'm doing, if the connection is connected, then execute what? SQL query. this is a SQL query. Create database DevOpsSchool. Here I have to change the database name because DevOpsSchool has been created already. DevOpsSchool 1. So this will create a DevOpsSchool 1 database, and after that it will finally close the connection and then come out of it. Now let me run this program. Here I'm creating a database. So here, and you see here, done without any problem. Let me check. Let me authenticate. So here again, you know that what I'm going to do. And password is my new password. Done. Show database. All commands I have given in the notes. You can try it out. Basis. And you see here database, DevOpsSchool 1 has come here. So now using this program, I created a database. So far, any questions, any problems in the step number 4?
Hey Rajesh, during the demo, like the exercise session, how do we connect to this database and all? And most of us have like Windows laptops. Do you want to do exercise?
Yeah, so that's what I said, sir. This MySQL server you need to install. Okay, so MySQL server need to install, start the server, set the root password, and validate it. That command I have shared with you here.
Okay.
So MySQL server you can install in Mac, Windows, Linux, anywhere. The instruction will change. Let's say in Mac you get a DMG, in Windows you get a exe, in RHEL we get RPM files.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now, so this is the creating a database. Now I'll show you the step number 5, creating a table. So now let's get started. Again, same program, little bit of the modification. You see here, everything will remain same except here one addition will happen. Remember, you are creating a table. So for creating a table, you need to have a database. Without a database, you cannot create a table. So here I'm going to change the table database name DevOpsSchool 1, okay, which I created in the last step. And then what table you want to create? So this is a query. You look at this here. This is the query. What table? So here, when you have a multi-line, then you can use this way. If you look at the last one, which is I created a DV, you see here, it's a double quote because it's a single line. But when you have a multiple line, then you can use this one also. So this is one of the advantage. What exactly inside this? This is a typical SQL query. Create a table. Which table? Laptop with how many columns? These columns. Whereas the primary key is ID, which is this one. Simple. So now this is the table which would get created. So now let me create the table. So running this program. Done. Now let me validate. So show database and use database use database DevOpsSchool 1, and here show tables. And you see here laptop of the DevOpsSchool 1 has come up. So that is also done. So now we'll go for the next step. Next step is we have to insert the rows in the table. Okay, you have to insert the rows in the table. So how to do that? So for that, inserting the rows in the table, I have one again same program. Only the SQL will change here. Look at this here. SQL will change. Cursor, connection cursor. Here SQL query is being changed. Insert into which one? Laptop. Which column? This is the column you want to insert. Which value? Which is value is coming from here. Now you must be wondering that value is here, which is in a format. So coming from where? So if you look at this, this is a DevOpsSchool 1. I have to change the database. The value is coming as a parameter. So this is the intelligent work here. You see here, insert variables into table. Now the question is, what is insert variable into table? This is a function, and the function accept the parameter. Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas you are passing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this parameter is being set as a this one, this one, this one, this one, using this method. See here, record tuple ID, name, price, purchase date. So all these things it got set in this record tuple, and after that, when you try to execute here, you are setting the query only, but when you execute that, this tuple get executed in this format, and this is the, and then finally you have to commit. If you don't commit, it will not get inserted, and then finally this is the printf. So this is the way you can insert as many times you want it. This is something which you can insert. So through form also you can, web form also you can insert. You can call the web form here. So those are the way. So you can do that. So let me do that here. Here I am inserting two values. Before that, I will show you that value is set or not. So select all from laptop, and see there is no value, empty set. So now I'm going to run it. Done. And here you see you got the two records, two rows. Okay, so this is the way you can insert into the MySQL database using Python. Now next one is reading. Okay, reading, how can you read it? So again something similar, but here the queries is changed. Here select star from laptop, the same thing which I did here, and but this execute will become a query, and then fetch all. So cursor fetch.all, which is the function which is defined in the MySQL connector. So this will fetch and set in the records. Records you can display in a for loop here. Okay, look at this. Records you can display. See here, for row in records. So here records will have a multiple elements, and it will display here. So in the for loop, and then finally remaining things is same. So now run it, and now you see here you have a two records. This is the row number 1. Price, purchase date. Yeah, so this is the way you can read the records. Now next one is you can update the records. So how can you update the records? So now first I need to get the records one more time. So in order to update the records, I need to know the record primary key. So let me run one more time. Right now I have a total number of rows in a laptop is only 1. How come? Okay, so there's a mistake here. I'm reading the different database. This is the correct one. So now now it's correct. So now total number of record is 2, record 1, record 2. Now what is the ID? ID 2, ID 3. So now which one you want to update? Either this one or this one. So let's see right now the second record, or let's modify third record. Okay, ID is 3. Whereas MacBook Pro I want to update with Lenovo. Okay, so this is called update. So how to do that? So for that, here you look at this here, the query. Look at the query here. This is the SQL query, whereas update table set what. So I have to run it one more time. Read, because I need the.
Yeah.
So what I need what I want. Basically, I want to name. So name I want it. So now here name is equal to Lenovo, where ID is equal to 3. So this is the query which I am updating. Finally, you are executing, committing, record update successfully, same thing. After the updating the records, you are reading again. You see here, you are reading again. So here you are updating, here you are reading. So now the database name should be 1, and finally run it. And let me show you our output. And here you see only one record is there, and there's a problem here. Failed to update table records, unknown column Lenovo. So there's some typo which has been done. So what is this? Lenovo, where this name is equal to.
You need double quotes.
A second.
You can say tell him to do double quotes. Lenovo in double quotes.
This one. The unknown column Lenovo in the field list. It says unknown. Failed to update the record set. Unknown column. So set name. Okay. I think I made a mistake in the records. So okay, let me check the records. Right now I have a 2 and 3. So I did 2 and 3, where the name is equal to. See here, validation. Update laptop set name is equal to Lenovo, where ID is equal to 3. So let me do the 3. This is the 1. And after that, one more thing. One more thing I am going to do that, and which is this one. So let me do this single quote.
And check the database names.
See, this is the problem. 1 is a problem. Okay, so now let's run it, and now it has done. And now through command line, let's validate. See here, update has happened. So this is the way you can update. Finally, last thing which you want to do is delete a rows. So again, same thing, but the only queries will change here. Delete from laptop, where ID is equal to 2. So how many I have? 2. So area 51, I want to delete it. So here ID is equal to 2. And again, execute commit. Same thing, no changes here. And then I have to update the database name. Everything is remains same. And run Python file, and record deleted completed. Now let me show you here. Done. Okay. So this is the way you can work with Python and MySQL. So here database operation using Python. You can install the MySQL server. After that, you install the connector. After that, you check the connection, create a database, create a table, insert a rows, read the rows, update the rows, and delete the rows. And this is the SQL operations you can do with Python. Any question? Any question?
You're good, I guess, in the room. You're good here.
Okay. Now the last demo for the day is website development using Flask. Okay. So what is Flask? Let's understand this. So Flask, Django, these are the different web framework which you have here. So many frameworks is there in Python. Flask is one of the popular. Django is more popular, but Django is complicated a little bit, which is not fit for quick demo. And Flask is also a pretty large topic, but the demo can be quick and easy to understand. So here Flask, I am using it, web framework, to develop a web application using Python. So this is the Flask. Now you go to their official website. This is one of the libraries using that, and you see here, if you want to start working with the Flask, only these 6 lines of code, and you can get started working. Here you see, this is the 7 lines of code which you can get started working. So now the question is what to do in this case. So before start working on it, you have to install the Flask using the pip. So now the question is how to install the Flask using pip. Simple, pip3, remember, pip3 install Flask. And here, so this is the way you can do that. Simple. So here step number 1, I'll convert into the step number 1, sudo. So this, you got the package, Flask package. Once you got the Flask package, then you can start working with Flask. So now this is the hell lot of tutorial the Flask, but I'm going to use this. We have Flask as a different course. Use this as a so again, now it's basically Flask, a kind of web framework which helps us to integrate the Python code with the web application so easily, and it has an inbuilt server also, web server, so which helps us to check the code immediately, output of the immediately. So now this is the step number 1. Step number 2, let's have a Flask declared in Python 5 and do operations. Okay, now step number 3, have the proper HTML file. That's all. So these are the 3 steps, simple steps, in order to understand the web development using Python with Flask. Okay, so now let's get started. So here what I'm doing, I have created one sample project already, and this project is web app project. Look at this. So here what you have, if you remember, this is the same class which we had given you a program earlier. Look at this here, class student. Okay, if you remember, this is your there were 2 kind of variable, if you remember, instance variable and object variable. Sorry, instance attributes and object attributes. So this is remember, this is object attributes, whereas these all are which is getting here instance attributes. So now here you see, in this class you have a function. How many function? 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas this is the constructor default function. Now if you see that, if you create an object of this class, okay, what you need to do, so it depends on the function which you are calling, you need to pass that. So here right now, this is one of the simple class, there is no parameters need to be passed except name and student ID. By the way, student ID has been hard coded here also. Okay, so basically you have to pass the name. So anytime you want to create an instantiate an object of this class, you have to pass the name. Okay, and after that name, rest of the things can be done automatically. Okay, so this is one of the class. Now let's get into the app.py. This is exactly app. Now you must be wondering, lots of code is here which seems to be very new. So basically many codes which you are not able to understand, such as these are the things. Basically these are the things which is coming from the Flask. Okay, so if you work with the Flask, you see here it's coming from the Flask. Okay, so some of the standards which we'll ignore it for time being because we'll have to complete the demo. So here what we are doing, I have installed the Flask in my laptop already. So now what we are doing, we are calling the from Flask, import Flask, render template, redirect, and some of the other packages which we are calling from Flask package. After that, this is the Flask package. Before that, you have to install it. So I did already install, and I showed you the command also in the step, which is here. So you can install it. After that, I am also, see, this is the my object, which is here. See here, student. So here you are calling your own object from student, import student. So here you are importing this class. Okay, you are importing this class here. So student, because it will get called, why? Because this class is in the same directory. If it is not in the same directory, you have to load it again and through pip, and then you can get going. Now this is one of the variable which is defined. Now this is basically to initialize the app using the Flask. This is the constructor method which is being used, and so here this is the app specification. Now if you look at this app, web app, will be having and will be supporting two methods. Okay, look at this here, app root, which is a root location. So here you can give the path of it of your web server. Basically most of the time it's a default, so root location, and which method is supported. So this particular app which you are initializing here through the Flask, okay, now it's supporting two methods, get and post. So if you remember, most of the API call, you have a few API verbs, we call it. So get, post, put, delete, x delete, this kind of verbs which you have it. So here this web server which is running at the root location, will be supporting only two API requests, get or post. Now the question is, what is this here? This you are declaring the function def student page. Now in this function you are writing if, okay, if any call to this application, okay, any call to this application, if the request is post out of get and post, if the request is post, then do this. Now the question is, what is this? So here this is having three variables declare, 1, 2, 3, whereas request is a part of the Flask, form.get is a part of the Flask. 2, get a file, get a index.html file input. Now if you look at this here, where is the index.html? So actually in short, if I tell you, let me explain it to you here. Paint okay, so now if you see that there is a one web page, okay, which is called index.html. This web page will be read by there is a Python program which is called app.py. okay, this is the one program which I'm showing you. This is the program app.py. This Python program is reading this one. So anytime if someone, let's say human, do the post activity in this website, this page, there's a form, and form has an ID, you know that, HTML, if you understand that. So each form you have a unique ID. So if they insert something, then what happens to this page? Which operations happens? So basically this age basically happens post operation. So here this guy is posting on this page, okay. So this guy, whenever the post happens, what is happening? This variable is being set. What variable? This, and with what? This is coming from the Flask request.form.get. But what is this? Student.id. Student.id is this one. So here 1, 2, 3. So there is a 3 fields which you have here, which is getting, whenever someone posts to this file, this Python files get initialized these 3 variables. So now when this variable is getting initialized, what is being done? So is being done, they are creating a new student. This is the one function. So here this is the one function here, sorry, this is the one object which is this is the one class. So this is a object, new student, and student is a class. Here you see. So here this is the object which got instantiated from the class called student by passing the parameter which is called name and ID. So this student, you see, when you pass the name and ID, it has come here, name and ID, whereas there was default set. Now it will be overridden. This is called function overloading. Okay, so here overwritten. So now name and student ID will be set and appended to students, which is here. This is a one of the list which you have it. So here you got the list with the number of student name and student ID. Look at this again. See that very simple flow. Whenever someone hit to the index.html, it has a certain forms has a specific ID. So whenever do the some post operation, which is post operation, these variables get initialized, this object get instantiated, in which the students list get created, and once the student get list created, append has happened. Whereas the append you see here, append has happened here, students dot append is a built-in function, new student. So here every time you fill the form, it will get appended to the students list. That moment slowly you will get multiple list. Now the question is how to display those lists. So this is the code just to call on the post. Now the question is where this index.html is being called. So index.html is being called here. Okay, render HTML is a Flask method, which we need to learn. Okay, render method in which they are calling index.html. Where is the index.html? Under the templates directory. See here. So render.html always should be in the templates directory. This is a typical HTML file. This is a typical HTML file. It has a HTML content, CSS content, JavaScript content, and few images. But one thing which you need to look at it is this one. So basically what will be happening, Flask, which is a web server for Python, will be rendering this code dynamically in the web server, and output will be showing you the number of list elements of the student. See here, this is a for loop for student in student list, and they're displaying each time till the list you have it. This is through rendering. So Flask is rendering here, and they're generating a HTML file. So except this one, all the codes is a typical HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So now typically what will happen, come back to the images. See here, from here the post action has happened here. This will set one list will be set depends on the one class of student. Now this list again will be displayed here only, back whatever the here. So here you are entering, here you are displaying. Okay, so is that the flow is okay? Is that understood by everyone? Guys, are you able to hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we are. Very good. So we were not expecting this app to be part of the demo. This was like in addition to what we were expecting. So, but please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, this is a so you if you want to do the web development using Python, so either you have to use the Flask or Django. Django is more complicated than Flask actually. So like that. Okay. So now that's done. It's just the 3 program. It's not very complicated. Here use a class. This is your basically Flask file. This is your HTML file where rendering is happening here, which I showed you. So now what do you need to do? You need to run this program. So let me run this program. Rendering is happening here, you see. Rendering is happening. So now let me run this program. So once you run this program, you see here your Flask has inbuilt web server, and you see that here your Flask has inbuilt web server, and you see your Flask has made it your web server rendered and running at this particular IP address and port, localhost 5000. You click on this, and this is your application. The page, this is the index.html which I was showing you. This is your index.html and got rendered. So now you want to see that, you want to pass this. So anything which you pass here should be printed. So here student ID, let's say 33, name Rajesh, last name K, okay, and submit, and see rendered has happened. See all student, and if you look at this, the code again, rendering is happening in the somewhere here, you see here, okay. So it's displaying student ID, first name, last name, and action. You see here student ID, first name, last name, and action, and here this is the TD, all this thing is happening. So you want to display few more things, to some name, this one. Now you must be wondering why the last name is not coming. So this is your assignment I'm giving to you. Why this last name is not being displayed? What is the reason for it? So this answer you need to find it out for me. Okay. So you see here, this is the way. Now what you could have done, let me tell you here, this variable whichever is being set in the list, which is called this list, app.py, this is the list actually here, student list. You should have been doing some insert operation in database. So you could have, instead of appending to the new students here, you could have inserted into the database, which I have a code given it to you. So you could have done it. So same thing here, it is a temporary thing which is happening, but if you incorporate the database and stuff like that, it will be doing that insertion or edit or delete stuff in the database. Though this functionality is not working, you can make it working with the help of these programs which I have shared with you for the database. Okay. Any questions? Any doubts?
How did you set up the port number 5000?
Okay, so that's the default port number of the Flask. So that it's a Flask configuration which comes along with it. Again, if the 5000 is not available, so it will give you some other port also. So that's some of the logic which has been hard coded in the Flask only. Though you can change that if you want it. Flask has an inbuilt web server.
Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions?
And see here, if you hit to the multiple times, here you see the logs, get post. These are the events which is happening. See, so this is coming from the Flask actually. This all debugger is coming from the Flask. Guys, any question?
No, I guess actually it's it'll take some time for people to grasp because
until you mess around.
until you mess around.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So okay, so as part of this demo, what I showed you, some of the real examples you can do the file operation. So file operation where you can use it in your project, typically to system automations, like you want to read some file, grep, search pattern, do some actions on it, execute some scripts and stuff like that. So these are the file operations, you can do that very well. Database operations, or again I talked about it. I showed you the demo. Again, all the codes you have it here. Now I did help you to understand some web developments also using the Flask. You can try the Django also, little bit more advanced. But Flask itself is like a big course. It's a web framework. Using that, most of the web programmer you develop a web applications and stuff like that. So these are the things, and like that. So yes, any other additional questions which you have, which you wanted me to cover, which I missed out or something like that?
Any important Python libraries?
Hi, Rajesh, are there any important libraries in Python that you can share that are frequently being used?
Sir, it depends upon what kind of work you are doing. Let's say if you are doing the desktop automation work, then OS is one of the best libraries you can use it. Let's say if you are doing XML work, XML libraries there, JSON libraries there. Now there's a scientific libraries for the mathematical formulas is also available. There's a Flask there, which is for the web applications. Again, you have, so again depends on the different work which you have a different libraries. Now the way to find out the library here, if you see the Python package, if you do Python package, PYPI is the place where you can do this PYPI, which is here. This is the one. You see, you can search the library here. As of now, you see how many libraries, how many projects you have it here. 2 lakh 3,035 total new projects are there. Okay, so look at this, the thing, some of the popular trending projects which you can see here: Node.js, Loan, these are the libraries. Again, some of the new releases which you can see: OS package registry, again is for the Elasticsearch which you can use it. So you have thousands of libraries. Depends on what you want to do that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, sounds good. So Rajesh, what do you want us to do? You want us to go with the exercise that?
Yes. Again, guys, I have given some sample programs which I did not show you the demo because we don't have a time. Some of the system programming you can do through this directory. Web development, again, few things which you do the database operations with a web development using this directory. Web app, which I show you anyways. MySQL, anyways, I show you some of the collection programs which you have it here. You must try it out here. Exception handling, functions, some student, class initiations, looping, and some CRUD operations which you have it here. Some of the stuff. So these are some of the programs. Though there's a reference also, online reference which you can try it out here inside the file which is called rough, and in this. So not this, sorry, in this. So you can use the reference, web reference, so many URLs are being given over there. Good reference which you can learn and then get going. So okay, so I'm going to push that all of these codes right now, and I'm going to ask you to do all this stuff. If you need any help, I'm there and I'll help you with it. Okay, so Control D. If Flask is running right now, Control D, you have to do that. Control Z, and then it will be killed. That web server will be killed, and then I'm going to add, commit, and push. Okay, so now you can refresh the GitHub URL, and if you have cloned it, you have to pull it one more time. If you have downloaded it, you have to download one more time, and then you get all the codes. And I'll be here for some time, let's say 30 to 40 minutes. Please try it out, and if you feel stuck, I'll help you out.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Want to study further? Subscribe to our paid membership to get a deep dive into each and every topic. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to our DevOps School channel and hit the bell icon to learn more. Keep learning.